Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
Welcome to episode 4 of And the EGOT Goes To, a breakdown and predictions podcast for the major US-based award shows. Today, we continue our first season with a 9-episode miniseries on the 2023 Tony Awards. I'm your host, and with me is our panel.
Hello, I'm Kate Ranking. I am a Theater is Life on TikTok and YouTube, and I love seeing theater.
Hi, I'm Ashley Hufford. I'm Ashley Hufford on Instagram and TikTok. And I also love seeing theater.
Hi, I am JT Tranberg, and I also love seeing theater. I am JT Does NYC on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the socials.
Today, we're going to continue discussing the nominations. We're going to continue our in-depth discussion of the Tony categories by discussing the categories for acting in a musical, which are featured actor in a musical, featured actress in a musical, leading actor in a musical, and leading actress in a musical. In addition, today we're also talking about the Isabel Stevenson Award. So first, we'll go ahead and talk about the Isabel Stevenson Award, which is presented annually to a member of the theater community who has made a substantial contribution of volunteered time and effort on behalf of one or more humanitarian, social service, or charitable organizations. Is being awarded to Jerry Mitchell in recognition of his outstanding dedication and contributions to Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, and for more than 3 decades of volunteer service through the arts.
I think it's mostly too because he created Broadway Bears, which is like one of their biggest fundraisers. He's raised more than $25 million through Broadway Bears. That is wild. And I'm reading an article
That's
now.
crazy.
So I'm in 1992, while
That's
performing in the
amazing.
Will Rogers Follies, Mitchell wanted to help those diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, rounded up his fellow dancers for a burlesque-style performance, and raised $8,000 in what became the first annual Broadway Bears. And since then, has raised more than $25 million. That is wild.
And, with these honorary awards, they can be, kind of hit or miss as to whether they're, whether we know who the people are or whether we don't. And this is one, if we look at past winners of this award, last year was Robert Winkle for the Actors Fund and Broadway Cares, and you have Judith Light and Brian Stokes Mitchell, Stephen Schwartz, Rosie O'Donnell, Bernadette Peters, David Hyde Pierce, who have all won this award. And so just fantastic to get to spotlight the work of these people and give them a little statue that spins.
It's also such a great way to spotlight, people with a name in the industry using that name for good purposes, right? Which is nice. It's nice to be reminded that, a lot of people in the industry are doing good, because I feel like we talk about the criticisms of the industry a lot and not all of the fantastic things that people do behind the scenes.
Yeah, and only thing I knew about was Broadway Bears, but I'm not really sure I knew that number, and that's a really crazy number and a really fantastic amount of money that he is, and he gets a spinny statue, which is always nice. But he has lots of them already, so
all I have to do is raise $25 million to get a Tony. This is great to know. Thank you for the insight.
it's probably less risky to do it that way than to put up a show financially, if you think about it. Because
You have a good point, buddy.
8 and 10 Broadway shows don't make a profit.
You can write it off. So
Fundraisers much easier over 20 years, so much easier.
You're not wrong.
That's true, and it is a write-off. We can go ahead and talk about featured actor in a musical. We have Kevin Cahoon for Shucked, Justin Cooley in Kimberly Akimbo, Kevin Del Aguila in Some Like It Hot, Jordan Donica in Lerner and Lowe's Camelot, and Alex Newell in Shucked.
I'd like to quickly start off with this quote from today that David Gordon posted, that Victoria Clark said, which is bringing me lots of joy. Justin is my heart. This is his first professional job. To go from graduating high school to a Tony nomination is an incredible arc, which he earned. Bonnie is a force of nature, and she's an incredible person. She did not get nominated for Head Over Heels. she deserves this. Which I love. That's all I have to read. I just wanted to read it. Anyway, I'm very happy for Justin.
Agree.
I love that.
I've seen everyone in this category except for Jordan Donica, but even hearing about Jordan Donica in Camelot, I believe that this nomination is justified. Justin Cooley and Kimberly Akimbo, I'm so happy for him. I had a bunch of friends who saw Kimberly Akimbo last week, and I was like, you want to hear something that'll make you feel really bad about yourself? Yeah, he's 19. And so just like he's so good in the show, and he plays the tuba. A lot of tuba playing this season, actually, because Colton Ryan also plays the tuba.
I saw that on Twitter. They're like, they should have Colton Ryan and Justin do a tuba off.
the doors that Patti LuPone opened.
That would be so amazing.
Patti LuPone walked with the tuba so they could run.
So we all, I believe, agree on who this award is going to go to, which is Alex Newell for Shuck. But these nominations are incredibly well deserved. I love Kevin Cahoon in Shuck. He's so funny. It is one of my favorite performances in that show.
And I think that's one of the bigger, again, not that it's not deserved, but it's one of the bigger surprises.
Yeah,
like I am shocked that Shucked managed to get 2 in this category, but I'm very thrilled about it because I do think Kevin is exceptional in the show. It is because is Andrew up for leading? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Andrew and Philippa were up for leading.
Yeah. No, sorry, Andrew.
Other
Andrew.
No, Andrew Durand was up for featured.
Interesting. That is surprising to me. And again, but that is very surprising to me.
Yeah. And any snubs in this category? I know, Kate, you had said Alex Joseph Grayson for Parade.
Yes, there's multiple snubs. I would have put Alex Joseph Grayson in this category over one of the Kevins. I also would have put in Steven for Kimberly Akimbo.
Also, I think we all thought that Gavin Creel was gonna get a nom here.
I also would have put in Gavin.
I also, especially which we'll talk about soon, when the Brian Darcy James was announced in the early at the 8:30 show, I was like, oh, Gavin's I was like, oh, we're gonna get a crazy. I was like, we're gonna probably get. I literally was convinced that we were gonna get Philippa for Cinderella. I mean, we got Julia, but I was like, this is clearly they love Into the Woods, because we'll talk about this later, but shocked about that. And so I was kind of surprised that Gavin wasn't there because he felt like such a standout. I also personally loved Gaten, and I really wanted Gaten to sneak in, but I understand why he didn't. But that would have been if I could have picked someone to sneak in as a surprise, it would have been Gaten because I loved him in Sweeney Todd.
And I'm happy for Kevin Del Aguila as well. I mean, he's fantastic in Some Like It Hot. And I just didn't think that. I mean, there's too many people in this category that were eligible that I liked, not better, but I thought had a better shot of getting it. And so he's great in Some Like It Hot. And so
I agree.
I'm happy for him.
Both of the Kevins were surprising for me, but Kevin Del Aguila was the most surprising.
So I added him back. I added him in at the last minute because of the fact that he got nominated for both Outdoors Critic and Drama Desk. And I was like, well, okay.
I was surprised by those two.
So he did end up making my final list, but only after that, because I was like, well, clearly I am off the mark. I'm unprepared for the amount of Some Like It Hot love, and again, I enjoyed Some Like It Hot. I was not prepared for 13 Tony nominations worth of Some Like It Hot love.
Yeah, I thought it would get 10.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen Camelot, but someone can attest to Jordan Donica in it.
Jordan is excellent. And he's so charming. He sings more songs than Andrew does in Camelot. His voice is spectacular. Him and Philippa have insane chemistry. It does. Well, again, and I get it because the actress categories in this were so stacked this year. But it does annoy me that you don't get nominations for Anna and Philippa, and you do get nominations for their male counterparts in shows that are they're so highly featured, or so highly they're leads of, and they're so good in. But I get it. It's because of the nature of this season and where we are. But
I also think that Alex is taking this, but I would not be surprised if Justin wins.
I would not be unhappy about Justin winning.
It's a really good story.
He's great in Kimberly Kimbo. I also just saw Miguel, who's his understudy, do it, and also fantastic in the role. And they both making very different choices that I think, bring out different performances of Victoria, which is really,
That's fun.
yes.
And I like that we get justice for Alex
Yes.
Knoll and for Bonnie for shows that they should have been nominated for, that they did not get nominated for. And now here we are.
So I've really quickly, do we know if Alex has said anything
Yes.
publicly about the category that they were?
They specifically
Yeah.
said that they went actor because actor is a gender neutral term, so it fits.
Got it. Okay.
But they did a whole interview on it.
Okay.
I think it's in Variety or Deadline, one of the two.
Okay, cool.
And it happens to be the category that they are more likely to
Yes.
win in,
That too.
which works out for everybody.
It works out for all of us, for the fans and for them.
Yeah, Alex Newell is so good in that show. I mean, everyone is good, but
I'll tell Alex tonight that when I see them at Glass House, where they are every night, because I've never seen anyone who is at Glass House more often than Alex Knoll.
Literally.
There is one person that's at Glass House more often than Alex Newell. That person is Ashley Huffington.
You're not
I
wrong.
don't think so. Because every time I go, Alex is there, and many nights that I am not there, Alex also there. Mostly because I'm trying to be better about not going every night, but I will be there tonight after all of it.
I'm seeing Oliver on Friday.
I had tickets for Saturday matinee, but then I got invited to the event dress tonight, and I was like, do I need to see this twice? Probably not. Unless they have the cats and dogs, and then I'll be back in. Because I love to see some dogs running around on stage with little kids.
So we now have featured actress in a musical. We have Julia Lester for Into the Woods, Ruthie Ann Miles for Sweeney Todd, Bonnie Milligan for Kimberly Akimbo, Natasha Yvette Williams for Some Like It Hot, and Betsy Wolfe for Anne Juliet. So first, I think we were all surprised by quite a few of these nominations.
I'm more surprised by what's not there than what is there. I was looking forward to seeing Carolee Carmello, Philippa Sue a little bit. That's what I'm more surprised about. I mean, the ones that are there, I'm like, all right, I can see it, but I'm left. My cup does not run over for this category.
I just think, and this is no shade to Ruthie Ann Miles, who I think is incredible in the role. The beggar woman is barely a featured performer. Like, it's like she's not in it that much. Like, it is the idea that you're looking at Betsy Wolfe and Anne Juliet, who's in like 90% of the show, and comparing that with a beggar lady who is in it for like 10% of the show. And I'm aware like it's the vibe and well, like, I don't know. And again, it's not, Ruthie's really good. I love Ruthie, but I just thought we need like another category. We need like like how they had TV, they have like featured guest star, supporting, like that's what we need. We need like.
Exactly. I actually was writing some trivia for my job the other day. And one of the questions was about one film where the actress is in the film in like 97% of the frames, but was still nominated for a featured actress Oscar.
Well, it's like Judi Dench winning for Shakespeare in Love when she's in 8 minutes of the movie, right? Like that's what that is. Like, and we all love Judi Dench. There's nothing new, Judi Dench. Should you win as a featured actress for a movie that you're literally in for 8 minutes of screen time? I don't know, but anyway, I'm happy for Ruthie. She's great. She deserves all good things forever.
And I was surprised also by Julia Lester, who I thought was fantastic in Into the Woods. I'm not sure I thought it was Tony nomination fantastic, but she was really, really great in it.
She did end up on my final list also because of looking at the Outers Critics and Drama Desk that she also got. And I was like, okay.
Roll the tape. She was on my list on this podcast.
She was.
Roll the tape.
And Natasha Yvette Williams, I loved also.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Natasha. I'm surprised to see her here. I'm surprised to see Ruthie Ann I predicted Julia Lester, and I'm still pleasantly surprised that she made the final cut. I'm a little sad that Ali Mazi didn't get a nomination.
Yes.
I'm very sad Ali Mazi didn't get a nomination.
I mean, I said in our group chat the other day, I said it wrong. I said instead of, but I thought that Ali Mazi I've been hearing a lot more about. And also after seeing it twice last weekend, I was just like, oh, she's so good. And like she deserves a nomination for this role.
Yes.
As does Bonnie. But
I thought we were going to get I thought she was going to be the sixth. Like I thought they were going to get a sixth in here and that was going to be her. I'm honestly shocked that we got 5 actress categories and a 6 leading actor when there's like 8 leading actors.
That was the most shocking part of, not maybe the most, that was one of the biggest shocks of this awards of the nominations.
5 leading actresses, 5 featured actresses, and 6 leading actors. And again, that was literally like 8 eligible leading actors. Like I think the only it's like Andrew from Camelot wasn't nominated, and like one other person who I literally can't even think of off the top of my head.
Will Swenson.
Will Swenson. There you go. Yeah.
And we'll get there because I was shocked.
Yeah. But
and Betsy Wolfe also fantastic in Anne Juliet. I mean, she's been a shoo-in. Her and Bonnie, everyone's been saying the entire season are going to be.
And I don't know who's going to win. I honestly don't know who's going to win between of them. Like it's really. I mean, I guess if we look at the other awards, it's going to be Bonnie. But then I feel like Betsy. I mean, it's hard because you could put Betsy in lead. Like I think you can make an argument that Betsy should be lead. And like
I think Betsy gets it.
Yeah. And also just like the historic. I mean, like Betsy's been a long time Broadway girly, like just trying. But I don't know. I obviously love Bonnie Milligan with everything in me. So if she wins, I'll be thrilled.
I think Betsy gets it on the grounds that both of them are incredibly funny in the roles, but Betsy also gets to be sincere, and Bonnie in the role, because of the way the role is written, just doesn't get to. She's always
right.
At 110%.
Well, and yeah, I mean that's the thing about it, is Betsy has a lot more stage time.
Yeah, I mean, so much more stage time than any of. I mean, I don't know. I don't have but I would almost guess that if you tallied up everyone else's stage time and put it next to Betsy's, she would almost have more stage time than all of them, like combined.
Yeah.
Like it is like the amount that she is on that stage is wild.
But so we think it's between Betsy and Bonnie. Is there anyone else who was eligible in this category who we felt? I mean, other than the ones that we previously mentioned, anyone I also want to bring up again that it was not discussed enough that Grace and Carolee, neither of them were nominated for this, and those performances are both fantastic and are nomination worthy. It's just the Tony nominating committee doesn't know how to have fun.
Exactly.
I think is what I've decided.
Yeah.
That to me was the biggest disappointment of this category. This is where I was hoping a Bad Cinderella would get a nomination. And
so speaking of that, did you guys see Bad Cinderella's post under?
I did.
Oh my God, I died.
And they're like, we raise you 0 0. It was so funny.
I like that they're letting them.
Oh gosh.
My favorite was inviting Danson and Beautiful Noise to brunch on Tony Sunday.
Yes. Do we feel? We said those. We said Robin Herder, was she featured?
She would have been featured. It makes sense why she didn't get the nomination.
Yes. And I think she's
agree.
amazing, but I just don't think.
I think I said Saleha Pfeiffer at one point.
I think in an alternate universe, Saleha Pfeiffer could be nominated here, but
I think if they had kept the Morocco reprise, she would have been nominated, and that's my hot take for you.
Saleha will get her due. I'm not worried about Saleha getting a Tony nomination or Tony win in her career.
Yeah, because she's also, she's not. What is she doing right now? Oh, Hamlet.
Ophelia, which is a choice, but you know what? Good for her.
Hey there, listeners. When the panel takes a quick intermission, I wanted to tell you about another Bloop Network podcast, Thrash and Treasure, where we torture the world's greatest artists with musicals, comedy, and heavy metal, even Tony Award winners. Here's a quick sneak peek with Tony Award winner Tanya Pinkins.
So I think my questions were more about like equipment and location, because you said you paid for it yourself. So did everybody just do you a favor, or were people doing, how did you know the DP and the crew?
So the first DP that I was going to go with was this really, hot young Steadicam operator. And when you have a hot young up and coming DP, like Ari was going to give them a camera package. And like 2 weeks before we started shooting, Ari was like, we're overbooked. We don't even have enough, cameras for people who want to buy them. So we ended up losing our DP because we couldn't afford to pay the camera package. And so the DP, John Hudak, he understood the film because he said he grew up down the street from like a Ku Klux Klan church. And he's married to a Latina woman, and he and his AC own a red Epic Dragon together. So I could pay them, which they were one of the more expensive parts of the film, but I got, him, his AC, his camera, and he brought lights. So that was him. And we got him through my mentor, who was the man, like when I did my budget for my film, I'd basically been shadowing directing for a few years. And, everybody's like, oh my God, yes, you can shadow. You'll be a great director. You're a great actor. But then when it would come to asking for the job, it was always like, oh, there's so many people in line ahead of you. And I kept thinking about Ava DuVernay, who was like, I didn't go to film school. I just made a movie. And I was like, I just spent 3 years of my life shadowing with people and nobody's giving me a job. So I'm going to make a movie. Yeah. And I went and got the budget done because I know professional people and they're like, you don't have enough time or money to make this movie. And so I asked a second person, they're like, even that person's budget and time is too little. And then I met a man who has now done 32 films in 31 years. And he said, if you're going to invest your money, there is no one to stop you from making this movie. He said, no, you can't pay union rate, but you're giving them an opportunity. And he basically taught me how to be a producer, how to talk to people from my passion and get them excited to come and want to work for me for the $2 I could afford to give them. Mm-hmm. And so people started coming on because they liked the project. Like my sound designer, Paul Sue, he did Salt and Motherless Brooklyn. And my film is in surround sound. Like if anybody ever gets to see it in a movie theater, it's in the state-of-the-art 7.2 surround sound, which he gave me because he believed in the project.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then the location I love too. Where did you film it?
It's a girlfriend of mine's house, upstate New York. I visit her and, I was like, wow, your house is like a horror movie house. And she was like, I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult. So that was like a gift. That was a whole lot of money. The car we got at the last minute, a gift. So there were a lot of things that people gave me. Those actors were, working at scale and back end points, which, it'll be 10 years before they see them. The catering was very expensive. The VFX was very expensive and shitty, and they were the worst people to work with.
Oh, really?
Are you going to redo them, or is this film already?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm not going to redo them. It's like when I went to go and ask other people, we spent so much money getting them redone and asking them to redo it better, and they just kept doing it shitty. And then they would say, well, you didn't pay for it to be good.
That's their branding, I believe.
Yeah, that's definitely not somebody.
Yeah, there's like what we did is we just recut it. Probably the cut you saw where we just took some of the shots, we just recut it and put reactions in instead of the VFX shots because it was just like whatever.
You can get Thrash and Treasure anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And now back to And the EGOT Goes To. And so now we have some of the most interesting nominations that we got this morning. We have leading actor in a musical. We have 6 nominees, which means there was a tie. And so we have Christian Borle and J. Harrison Gee for Some Like It Hot. We have Josh Groban for Sweeney Todd, Brian Darcy James for Into the Woods, Ben Platt for Parade, and Colton Ryan for New York, New York. Christian Borle should not have been nominated here. I don't know why he was. He could be replaced by literally any actor in the musical theater universe who is similar in age to him. Anyone could have done that role and pulled it off. He is so mediocre in this.
He better be the tie.
I think we forget that TikTok does not control the Tony Awards, because I agree, obviously.
Yes.
But then you talk to the old people, and the old people love Christian Borle. They think Christian Borle is the funniest person they've ever seen. They love everything he does. They love all his Christian Borle bits. Like, they are in. Now, when we went the night that Christian Borle was out, I thought his understudy was just as good, if not better, because he just knew how to do all the Christian Borle things. Who, funny enough, the understudy that we saw was also the understudy of Doubtfire, who I also saw the only time I saw Doubtfire.
Instead of Christian
Because
Borle.
his trope is men dressing up like women on Broadway. He understudied them. But it is, they love Christian Borle. Like, the olds love Christian Borle.
No, I love him, just not in this.
Oh, see, I'm not a Christian Borle girl. I don't like the bit. I don't like the things, the bits, every show, it's the same bits.
I didn't until I saw him in Little Shop.
I did too.
He's Little Shop though is
Yeah.
is for his bits. Like, the bit, like, he is the dentist in everything he does. Like, those little
Like, I've never seen an actor have as much fun in anything as I have in Christian Borle in Little Shop. He had the time of his life in that show.
I loved him in Little Shop.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've been saying is, like, I feel bad for him because when I saw Little Shop, he was having the time of his life. And you can just tell in Some Like It Hot, he's like,
Yeah, a couple friends went to see it a couple of weeks ago, and like, he just seemed I forgot the exact quote they said, but it was along the lines of, he just seemed like he was over it.
And he doesn't seem like he's having fun in Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
and he's been with the show for
Like, just-
forever. I mean, he was there the first workshop. It was when they wrote the character with him in mind, right? Like, but yeah, I don't know. The folks love Christian Borle, so I'm not thrilled, but I'm not surprised. I was interested in me on Twitter because I felt like my Twitter was all like, how did it get so many nominations? I don't know, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was like, have you not been paying attention?
He was kind of there.
It's like, people love Some Like It Hot. Like, I made that video about my favorite shows of the season, my favorite musical of the season, in my top 5, and half of the comments are like, where is Some Like It Hot? And I'm like, I like Some Like It Hot. It's not my top 5 of the season. They're like, no, it's the best show that's out right now. Blah, blah, blah. Like, so many people.
A lot of people are obsessed with it.
Yeah. It feels the most Broadway.
yeah.
I think Some Like It Hot, it also makes sense that it got the most nominations because it's got the strongest overall everything. Like, and I don't think it's necessarily going to win a bunch of stuff, but when you look at design, the design is good, the acting's good, the writing is good. And so it makes sense that it got the most nominations, because when you look at the other shows like Kimberly Kimbo, the acting and the writing's good, but the design isn't necessarily the best. Same with Shocked. So I don't know. And then New York, you have fantastic design and best book. Everything else is a bit like on the meh side, and even that got a ton of nominations. So yeah, it just,
Well, yeah, I feel like Some Like It Hot is the most like Broadway, like big budget Broadway, like traditional.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the most Broadway show. I was saying, my neighbor was like, hey, she's like, I know you like theater. My 80-year-old grandma's coming to New York. She's never seen a Broadway show. What should I take her to? And I was like, Some Like It Hot. Like, that is the show that is a perfect first musical for an 80-year-old grandma. Like, I was like, this will feel big and Broadway and tap dance and big musical numbers and like very easy to follow plot. Like, it is exactly what you want from a big
And
musical.
I've friends who are tourists who are kind of older who are coming in, and they were like, what should we see? And I'm like, just Something Like That. Like, it'll make you happy. I'm still flabbergasted by that chase scene every time I see that show. You'll just go see it. You'll enjoy yourself. It's big band, like, it's fun. It's the most Broadway show that we have right now, especially because no more Phantom. So I do think that show is going to do really well with tourists, and once it tours, that show will do very well as well. And I think of all of these, it's probably the most likely to be successful on tour?
I think Shucked will do well on tour.
I think the whatever awards Kimberly or Kimball wins, that will be its tour like marketing, quote unquote. Like I feel like as long as it wins the right awards,
Kimberly
it'll do well
reminds
on
me of
tour.
more like a band's visit or
Mhm.
Fun Home or
Yeah.
like the
And Fun Home sold out the Amundsen. Like and that's a big
Oh,
theater,
yeah.
but that's also LA. So
I mean, look, we have Kimberly Kimbo, and I hope it runs a long time. And I think that it has a chance of running for hopefully more than a year when it wins stuff. I think that show, especially once there is a cast turnover, that it might be more difficult for them. Whereas I feel the other shows might not be as difficult when there is a cast turnover, unless you get another like Broadway legend like Victoria Clark to take over that role. But I just can't really imagine that many other people doing it. Someone the other day said to me, Bernadette,
yeah, I've been trying to figure out who's gonna play that role on the tour, and I can't like
someone said Bernadette Peters to me the other day, and I was like, that would be the worst thing I have ever seen in my.
He's also in London for like.
I
8
would see
months.
Bernadette
Oh.
Peters as
But-
Kimberly.
100%. It would be
Oh, I mean,
so
I would see
funny.
it tomorrow.
No, I would assume you get Colleen to
Yeah.
replace her
Yeah.
or to go on tour. I would assume that's who they would.
You know who I would love to see tackle the role
That
though?
makes the most sense. Betty Buckley. Betty
Oh my
Buckley.
gosh.
Betty Buckley goes
Betty
Hello Dolly
Buckley
to
couldn't even
comedy.
do Hello Dolly. She was out like every other day. Did anybody see Betty Buckley in
She's
Hello
like
Dolly?
105 years old. I was just joking because I thought it would be hilarious.
You know who I would love to see in that role though? Audra McDonald.
Oh my god, Audra's too hot. Like Audra, you would like, not that Victoria Clark's not like good looking, but like Audra, like when she did, what's it called? What was the show she did?
Well, Audra also
with
just
it
doesn't
was her.
look old enough.
That's what I mean. Like she doesn't look like she is not. Like, Audra's not young, but doesn't look. She looks so young still.
That's fair. That's fair. She does look.
You need
younger.
like a Judith Light, like
Oh my god, yes.
I was
like
that crossed my mind before I said how
age-ish. Kristen Chenoweth.
So all right, so what about Adina? I mean, I don't hate it, but
She never would in 1,000,000 years, but yes, like there's a 0% chance because Kristen Chenoweth does not acknowledge her age or allow herself to be identified as old.
it's
But
hard.
yes.
That's hard casting. You know who it's gonna be? It's gonna be the drama. There's a lady somewhere in like Midwestern Michigan. She's teaching high school drama right now. She's gonna see the open call. She's gonna go, and then she's gonna get to live her life's dream at 60 in the Broadway touring cast of Kimberly Akimbo. It's gonna be so unknown. It's gonna be fantastic, and I'm gonna love that for her.
You know what? You know what tours well? Unknown leads is usually what they want for.
Well, I think that show you need a name.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why Norm Lewis, a famous straight play
perfect time.
actor, is touring with a soldier's
That's
play.
true. What is she doing?
He doesn't sing at all. That is an interesting conversation though to think about. There is, who could do that after, or is that just Victoria Clark plays that role for the rest of her life?
She could be like the lady from Perfect. What is Perfect Crime Lady doing?
Yeah.
No, because they own she owns the theater. She's putting.
What if that's like in her contract and it's like, after 7,000 trillion performances, I become the owner of this thing.
Oh my gosh. She's in the Perfect Crime. It's not closing anytime soon.
She's like, I'm never leaving.
That's so funny. Because like that makes that makes you think,
Yeah,
like,
but you
what
need,
if
like-
Kimberly Akimbo was not doing well and they needed to like stunt cast that role? Who then goes like, who do they like? Like, I don't know. It's such a
And Victoria Clark is just going to become the Carol Channing
I- it
of
would.
Kimberly Akimbo.
I would. Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that would crush. That'd be
That'd be
very
great.
good.
Okay, back to lead actor. It's 2017 again. We got Christian Borle, Josh Groban,
was-
and Ben Platt up against each other again.
I was saying it's both the most surprising and least surprising.
I'm not happy about Colton Ryan getting a nom and not Anna Uzela. Brian Dasher James, also a surprise. I thought he was great. Into the Woods.
Yeah. I'm happy Colton got a nomination, but the fact that he got one over and Anna didn't is
Shocked about Will Swenson. Shocked. The Tonys normally eat up like a jukebox playing a dead music, although he's not dead. A jukebox playing a musician. They normally eat that up. They've been loving that. And Will Swenson was fantastic. It was like the only good part of the show was Will Swenson and Robin
I
Herder,
know.
and I'm shocked that he didn't get a nom.
He did.
This category is oversaturated. I feel like it's a lot of the same
Yeah.
thing over and over
Um,
again. With some of these noms. And this is my least favorite performing category set of noms this year.
Do we think Ben Platt or do we think Jay?
I think I say again, I would have gone Ben until all the other awards started popping up, and Jay was on every single list and Ben was not, and neither was Josh Groban. And originally going into the season, or like 6 months ago, I was like, it's going to be Jay, it's going to be Jay. And then I wasn't sure because you started hearing all this hype around Ben and all this hype around, whatever. And now I'm like, I love Jay's performance and I would love to see them rewarded. And as Kate and I keep pushing, we love the no cis men winning Tonys this year. So sorry, winning acting Tonys. I'm sure there are cis men winning other Tonys. Yeah.
I'm going Jay.
Anyone here that we felt was left out besides Will Swenson? So now we are at leading actress in a musical. Couple interesting, well, only one that I was like, in here, but we have Annalee Ashford for Sweeney Todd, Sarah Bareilles for Into the Woods, Victoria Clark for Kimberly Akimbo, Lorna Courtney for Anne Juliet, and Michaela Diamond for Parade. Snubs?
Anna Uzeli is the big one. And I hate the fact that we've now fallen into this thing where I'm like, well, the other one I would have liked to see is Caroline, but I didn't have a huge hope that Caroline would be in this spot. So
Yeah.
but Anna was the one that I was really surprised about.
I'm a little disappointed that Adriana Hicks is not here. I thoroughly enjoyed her performance. And think that she deserves it, but I'm not disappointed with the noms that are here.
I'm really happy for Lorna. Like I wasn't sure because of how often she has been out because she's been sick on and off for the last
Anna
like
Uzeli.
3 months. And so I was worried that would be a detriment to her getting nominated. And I'm glad that it was not.
I was pleasantly surprised by Sarah Bareilles getting a nomination. I thought her performance was incredible in Into the Woods, but I just thought that it was too long ago and too many people and that she wouldn't get nominated. I am ecstatic.
Oh yeah, and
about
sorry.
it, because she was so good.
So good. I was thrilled.
in
I did
Into the
not have
Woods.
her in this. I had Philippa Sue in her spot. Which is still a little surprising to me because I think Philippa Sue is so good in Camelot. But I also love Sarah more than life itself, so I won't complain about it.
I'm also ecstatic about Michaela Diamond, who is amazing in Parade.
Yeah, she's so good. And
And
23 years old.
Yeah.
And somehow not the
Yeah.
youngest actor nominated this year.
No, she's She's 23. She's older than me.
So she and Michaela are the same age. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's the? Do you
Yeah.
think I gotta look up what the age difference? I'm like, is Michaela Victoria the largest age difference in a category, or what is the? I don't know who the oldest person is. How old Kevin? How old either of the Kevins are? And
And going to Victoria Clark's performance is life changing. In Kimberly Akimbo, I still have not seen Sweeney Todd, but I hope that this Tony goes to Victoria. It's the performance of a lifetime. It's one of those that you only get every couple of years, a performance like that.
I would not be mad if anyone gets it. To be 100% honest, I'd be happy, equally happy with all 5 of these people getting it. To be 1000% honest, like I won't be like, and I love Victoria Clark, but like if any of them won, I would be. I mean, if any, when one of them wins. I agree. I agree with you. I think this year was such a stacked actress category that it's really hard to look at that actor category and be like, none of these pair up. Like,
No, and I could see them giving it to Ben Platt just because he's Ben Platt. I mean,
and I will say,
he's
like,
great performance in Parade. Just like, yeah.
is it? No, I mean, I love Ben and Parade, and it's a really good story. But I do want it in terms of like my main thing I like about Ben is, from what I've been hearing, is that he won't take press with anyone that said anything mean about Beanie. Like, he's refusing to do any interviews with anyone that wrote a mean review about Beanie, and it makes me so happy. Oh no! And I'm still Team J all the way. When I heard that story, I was like, oh, I love this. I love the fact that he's like, F all of you people, you're mean to my girl, and I hate you.
So who do we think for leading actress? Do we think it's pretty equal? Do we think?
I think it is Victoria Clark. I just won't be mad if it's not.
I think I'm gonna go that same way. I was really debating between her and Michaela Diamond, but I think I think
if it isn't Victoria, I would be most happy for Michaela.
I agree. I think Annalee does have a shot. What she's doing is really incredible, but I have moved away. I was very in on the Annalee train for a little bit, and now I think I'm back on the Victoria Clark train.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of And the EGOT Goes To. Join us next week where we discuss the creative categories of a musical, which include Best Choreography, Best Orchestrations, Best Book of a Musical, and Best Original Score Written for the Theater. We will also be discussing the Tony Honors for Excellence in Theater, which are being awarded to Lisa Dawn Cave, Victoria Bailey, and Robert Fried. Thanks so much for listening, and feel free to rate us on the podcast app of your choice. See you next week.